welcome to a new video. This week, we're trying something a little bit new. We are going to be doing a no spend challenge, which is pretty self-explanatory. The goal is to spend $0 this entire week. And I wanted to do this for a variety of reasons. I think one of the main reasons is because when I get in the habit of constantly buying things and being a consumer of social media, I really feel like I get FOMO. I want to buy everything that I see. I feel like what I have isn't good enough, and I'm in this buying mentality that I really want to get out of. And if you guys have been following, we just moved to Portland from California. We wanted to buy some quality pieces with our furniture, things that are gonna last us a long time, which I do think is worth it. But because we've just been kind of on a buying spree this entire time, I really want to dial it back, have control over the things that I decide to buy. And for me, the goal is not so much to be super restrictive, not spend anything per se. Obviously, I think the main goal is to be more conscious with my spending, because I think that's what's going to be more sustainable in the long run versus not spending anything for a month straight or however long. And then on the other side of it, then you splurge and kind of overcompensate from the lack of money that you were spending before. And that's the part that I'm trying to avoid with this. I think the things that people usually buy are probably gas and groceries. We just bought all of our groceries yesterday, and honestly, the only thing we didn't get are eggs. That's because there's a shortage of eggs. So I don't even think I've been trying to get eggs, and they are sold out everywhere. So I think that's going to be a no-go for us this week. But we also live in a very walkable city, so I probably won't be buying gas this week. I just want to practice trying to be a little bit more intuitive. You almost have to train yourself not to just immediately check out, because everything is just so accessible nowadays and so easy to check out on any device that you have near you. I just want to break that habit now and just be a little bit more mindful of my spending. So today is Valentine's Day. Because we're not spending any money, we are not buying flowers, we're not going out to a fancy meal tonight, which I feel like are kind of the go-tos for Valentine's Day. But I've been trying to think all day what I could possibly do for Alec when he gets home from work, because I still want to do a little something. And honestly, I haven't really come up with that many ideas, but I do feel like one small gesture that would be nice is cleaning up the apartment. I've kind of just been throwing everything throughout the entire day, so I think right now I'm gonna clean up the apartment, maybe put on some candles for when he gets home. He gets home in less than an hour, so we're gonna straighten everything up, and then maybe while I'm cleaning, I'll think of some other ideas. Another thing that I'm gonna do that is kind of a small gesture, I'm gonna pre-make the coffee right now so that the coffee is ready for tomorrow morning. I know that's not gonna technically matter when it comes to Valentine's Day today, but it's just a small gesture to let them know that you care. My family and I used to always do it growing up, and honestly, it's game-changing, especially when we've been having these early wake-up calls at 5 a.m. The only thing that gets me out of bed is a coffee. It just took me an abnormally long time to light these candles because I kept burning my thumb. It's a metaphor for love, for sacrifice, for hardship. I have no idea what I'm saying right now. It's either the album that I'm thinking or it's Metallica that Alec was playing the other day, and I'm praying that it's not Metallica. I completely forgot that this was something that I wanted to do today. At the beginning of this year, I ended up buying this book that has 52 letters in them with individual prompts. Each one is a little bit different. So they have, "You made my day, I'm forever grateful for," "Thank you for the great advice." I was planning on writing one letter every week, kind of hiding them as like little treasures around the apartment for him to find. And so I was going to do one today for Valentine's Day, hide it somewhere so when he finds it, that's his card. I think I'm gonna do I love the way you ... He'll never know.
We have some bread and then a modern take on a classic dish, fried rice balls.
All right.
Yeah.
Our appetizer, fried rice balls, and some bread. This is some gourmet Valentine's Day dinner. Very tasty. Good morning. It's 5:21 a.m. Just made some coffee, about to get ready and go work out. It feels so early. It snowed all night. Now there's just a beautiful layer on the ground. Okay, it's gym time. I put 2 down comforters in there, and that thing is heavy. We are joining this man on the treadmill right now. Our competition with ourselves is that we try to be the first ones at the gym. We are competing with no one, but we are this morning. Guys, if you ever don't know what to do on the treadmill, right here, here's your workout. Somebody just hit me with a snowball. Don't do it. This is so cool. This is so exciting. Every day I want to show what our meals look like. This is the reality. I'm sure it's good. It always tastes good, but it's definitely not the prettiest. I did have a cookie this morning, so it's about the balance, you know? Alec doesn't agree with me that I have sweets right when I wake up. It's not the prettiest meal in the world, but everything he makes tastes good, and that's all that really matters, you know? Downtown right now, and I was just in my pajamas, but apparently there's a free concert going on downtown Portland. So he called me and said he could hear music. Now I'm gonna go meet him over there. I'm trying to dress warmly right now because I bet you it is so cold outside. It's been like 35 or something during the day, and I will be freezing. It is such a fun way to just feel a little bit more involved in the city. I remember when I first moved to LA, I was constantly Googling free events happening this weekend. Especially in LA, there were so many concerts. Sometimes you get some really cool hits. I think there's like a winter concert going on right now. So I'm gonna go meet Alec downtown. I feel like it'll be fun to take advantage of that. It's starting to rain right now, and I'm so not in the habit of bringing my umbrella anywhere. I didn't own umbrellas, and so I just bought some, but I'm not in the habit of bringing them places. Now it's starting to rain, and hopefully the event is covered. There he is.
apocalyptic.
Kind of like Renaissance vibes.
Renaissance, like apocalypse, yeah.
That was how people were dressed there. And that was kind of like the music. I don't even know, what would you consider that music?
Alternative?
No, it needs to get more niche than that. The music was like lo-fi, deep house, alternative, techno, with these light shows and fire blowing everywhere. And it was Portland's Winter City Light Show. And it was a scene. It was interesting. Good morning, happy Saturday. You know what, I think I'm gonna rep a hat today. I usually never wear hats because I have really thin, fine hair. So sometimes it just gives me bad hat hair, but I wanted to rep LA today, so that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go meander around downtown Portland today. I really wanted to explore the city a little bit, stumble upon different stores, and I feel like that's the ultimate willpower, is to go shopping, go into different stores and not buy anything. But it's a Saturday and I feel like it'd be fun, so that's what we're gonna do today. Just because we're doing this challenge doesn't mean that we have to buy anything when we go out, but I don't want it to hinder my experiences or things that I would usually do if I weren't doing the challenge. And also, moving to a new city, honestly, going into local shops is my favorite way to get recommendations because they're the ones who do business here. They've probably lived in the city for a while. And so I always like striking up conversation and asking if they have any good recs. So it's kind of a cloudy day today. Let's go meander around Portland without spending any money. It is so beautiful out right now. I'm just kind of soaking it all in. Going on my cute little walk this evening. This is a hot take, and obviously I haven't lived here long enough, but I actually love the Portland weather. I know I'm not getting rain 24/7, but it just feels really, really beautiful and very scenic everywhere you turn. Just got home. I'm not gonna lie, there definitely was a little bit of temptation when I was at the coffee shop to get a coffee or a little croissant. I was this close to buying something and like not telling you guys. How could you guys trust me? That would not be very good with the trust building between us, you know? How could I lie to you? I'd be lying to myself. I just couldn't do it. So I didn't buy anything all day. So I think with social media and being a quote unquote influencer, I think by nature you want to influence people. And with that, I think you see a lot of people sharing what they do have and what they use on a day-to-day basis. And so a lot of that drives consumerism. Obviously there's nothing wrong with that, but I don't feel like I see a lot of people sharing what they might not have purchased that day. And if you guys have been following along, we did just move into our apartment in Portland. So we're still trying to figure out the space and everything that we're getting to furnish the place. We did end up buying a bookshelf that we ended up returning because it didn't fit this space at all, because it's a pretty big white wall. My boyfriend and I have really been having the mindset that we want to be very intentional with what we're buying, and we're trying to buy more quality over quantity, which definitely was not the case in my head for a very long time because I always thought the more the better. We're trying to be a little bit more selective, a little bit more picky, but with that said, we have not really found a good bookshelf that we like and that we could see ourselves using in the long run, because we don't want to make a short-term purchase that we're probably going to be just throwing away or donating or whatever the case might be. I really wanted to figure out a good use of space where these books can go. I might scatter them around the apartment a little bit. I just think right now, I mean, this is very temporary. They're just kind of shoved against the wall. I just wanted to use this Sunday late afternoon to kind of do the most that I can to kind of finish the apartment before we actually get the delivery of the majority of our furniture, which will be in a few months. Ignore the fact that I have Christmas socks on. They're the warmest socks that I own. So I ended up just bringing this stool from my closet because I actually cannot reach to the very top of the closet. But I do feel like this could be a cool little reading nook area and add some dimension to stacking all of the books and making it feel a little bit more intentional. I feel like before this challenge, I probably would have just ordered something on Amazon or gone to a vintage store and looked for little stools. But honestly, sometimes you might already have the item that you need. You just kind of have to rearrange the space a little bit. But honestly, making do with what you already have feels like a success in my book. Okay, so I think it's officially been over an hour at this point, but I have officially moved all of the books to the window side, and I feel like my cheeks are so red because books are very heavy, and I feel like I just got a workout in, but I feel like it looks pretty good. So this is what it looks like now, and obviously it's still a little cluttered, and I still might tweak it a little bit and kind of put different stacks in other places of the apartment, but I just wanted to have it all organized so that if I wanted to, I could grab a stack and put it somewhere else in the apartment. Right now, I just don't really know where that place would be. So I'm happy with it being there. It definitely was feeling a little bit too cluttered for me on the other side because I was just kind of throwing them against the wall. So at least now it's a little bit more organized and I know what book is in which stack. So this is what it looks like when you're sitting on the couch looking at that other white wall. And I know it looks pretty empty and barren over there, but honestly, when all the books were thrown against the wall, it was so overstimulating to me that I just couldn't do it anymore. And so I like it on this wall, even though it might feel a little bit cluttered still. It still gives me a little bit more peace of mind than when it was against that wall. I might reposition some of the stacks to be against that wall or maybe in other places in the apartment. But for now, I'm content with it and it's a good temporary fix. I'm trying everything in my power not to slip on the ice. Okay, you guys, I kind of messed up. Last night, I ended up spending money. And honestly, I grappled with this for hours. So basically, I got invited to go to a restaurant and have a little girls' night out with some new friends of mine. And honestly, I went back and forth because I've definitely had my fair share of saying no to going out to restaurants, to going out to drinks, just because I just feel like it adds up so quickly. So last night, knowing that I'm doing this no spend challenge, I really debated whether I should go or not. I just decided that it was worth it, especially because I'm new in this city and I moved here not really having any friends. And so being invited to this, I thought that building that relationship and friendship was way more important than the $15 that I ended up spending. What I've realized is that all of this is just in moderation because you also have to live your life. I mean, it's really hard saying no to absolutely everything unless you just want to be in your apartment 24/7 and never leave. Like, I think that wasn't really the point of this challenge. The point was just to be very mindful and conscious of my spending. And I definitely thought about it for a long time whether I should go or not yesterday. And I decided to, and no regrets. It was so much fun and so worth it. I did fail. I failed the challenge. I don't know if you guys have ever felt this way, but I always felt like the people in my life had new shoes, new clothes, new accessories, and I was so confused how people were affording all of this. I mean, honestly, like my last job, I was working in finance and I felt like I was getting a pretty decent salary, but I still didn't feel like I had enough money to be buying all these things that seemingly my friends were all buying. One thing that I used to do back when I first moved to LA when I was going to the office every day, but even now being in social media, which is a whole nother beast of its own in terms of like styling outfits and posting content and all that, but I was doing Nuuly and Rent the Runway for a while. And if you guys don't know what that is, they're basically different websites that you can rent clothing from. And so I think Nuuly tends to be more kind of the vibe of Free People, Anthropologie, a little bit more indie clothing. I use that term loosely. And Rent the Runway is super similar, but I think they have a little bit more of a variety. And they also include accessories. accessories. You can rent purses and jewelry and stuff like that, or sunglasses. I feel like spending $150 on 10 items that you can return can be really useful if you do kind of have that mentality. That was just something that really helped me, especially when I was in the workforce and even now making content. But I feel like that kind of helps with diversity in your wardrobe and kind of having that as a creative outlet, because you can experiment and try new things when you use something like Rent the Runway, because you're not necessarily tied down financially to maybe a really expensive item of clothing that usually you would never buy. So I find it to be really fun to rent clothes and try new styles and try new things and kind of branch out of what you usually buy on a day-to-day basis. So yeah, especially when it comes to social media, I feel like I see so many influencers and content creators never wearing the same thing twice. I always wonder if they use stuff like that. So if you guys ever see me in clothing that I probably won't wear again, probably because I rented it. Last time we did this, I was in charge of buying the meat and I fully did not buy enough. I think I only bought like 3 chicken breasts and I think we had maybe a block of tofu. And I completely underestimated how much you actually need to satiate yourself for the entire week. Because Alec was in charge of getting the groceries this time, he bought 14 pounds of chicken, and then we also have steak, tofu, protein powder in case we need to make a smoothie. Oh, and eggs. Hopefully we're gonna have enough, but honestly, this is all kind of trial and error and seeing what works for you. Lining up our meal prep. That just needs to find a home. We don't know what to do with that. Okay, Alec, do you wanna explain what we're making and what we're doing today?
Yeah. We're back on 75 hard after a month hiatus from the move and the fires. And so we're getting everything ready today for the week. And just pop these Johnnies in the microwave and get them all done. So I'm preparing 3 different meals for kind of lunches and dinners that Megan and I can choose from that will fit in kind of the macro count that we're trying to do. The first is a yellow curry chicken with some white rice. The second is a sweet potato hash with a soy-based sauce with chicken. And then we're doing a russet potato poblano mushroom lentil soup. And so those are gonna be the 3 we're gonna have today. We always try to do at least one kind of vegetarian option out of the 2. And hopefully they should turn out pretty good. I think the chicken turned out pretty well, so happy with that. And then we'll move on to the next chicken dish next, so stay tuned.
It's a little at-home restaurant out here. It feels so gourmet. But we're also doing eggs and, I don't know, like breakfast tacos kind of thing. Maybe that could be a breakfast idea. And then also chia seed pudding. It's like a 3-ingredient chia seed pudding. So yeah, this is gonna be our day today. And it kind of feels like a lot of work to do all in just one day, but it saves you so much time throughout the entire week. So I feel like it's worth it. Okay, so we're pretty much wrapped up with the cooking. I tend to be on cleaning duty and Alec tends to be on cooking duty. So I'm just kind of cleaning up the kitchen right now, but I'll show you guys what we have prepped so far. We still have the Instant Pot going with the lentil soup that Alec is making. And then here we have it organized based off containers. So each container is 1 meal. So we have chicken, sweet potatoes here, chicken and rice, and then we just have extra mushrooms that we can add in here along with the beans that we're gonna add into these meals. And so yeah, everything is pretty much divided up. We do still need to make the chia seed pudding for breakfast, but we've kind of been going at this for the last few hours, so I think we're gonna take a little break and be done with the meal prepping for now. But that's kind of what our Saturdays tend to look like, hopefully, moving forward actually. Obviously this is what we tried doing at the beginning of the new year and that didn't really work out, so trying to get back into it. Meal prep before, you probably already know this, but I never really meal prepped in my life. I mean, this year is kind of the first year that I've been meal prepping for myself. And one thing that I noticed is that I fully underestimated how much Tupperware you need. Because, you know, I had a normal amount of Tupperware just growing up and as an adult, but trying to do this meal prepping thing, you need so much Tupperware, and so much so that our entire cabinet here is filled with just Tupperware. Tupperware, and that's what it's dedicated to. Because when your fridge looks like that, you don't really have another choice. And even Alec this morning was like, I think we need more Tupperware. I'm like, how? Literally how? And obviously, I think if you meal prep for one person, you're gonna need less than meal prepping for two, but it's actually kind of crazy. If you're a guest at our place, you open up the cabinet trying to find a cup to get some water or something, you just find Tupperware. Like, that's honestly what happened to us this past weekend. And I was like, I didn't realize that this was that unnormal of a thing. Yeah, kind of weird, but useful. So something that I realized while doing this challenge is that I've almost been getting these cravings and urges to go out and buy things just for fun. Like 9 times out of 10, I probably do not need it. But I feel like whether that's a coffee shop, a bookstore, you walk into a thrift store and you see something cute, like I have just been having that desire to go out and buy things. And it's weird because it almost feels like it's just because I get this instant gratification or like a small dose of dopamine whenever I go out and buy something. And that's a really big reason why I wanted to do this challenge, because I really wanted to assess what my priorities are and honestly just debate what is a need versus want. And I also feel like with social media nowadays, it is so easy for me to compare myself to everybody that I see online, whether that's short form content, long form content. Like I constantly feel like I do not own enough and that I constantly need more. And honestly, it kind of gets exhausting. And I just really wanted to use this week to be at peace and to be okay with the things that I own. And yeah, just practice not comparing myself to other people. And as much as everybody tells you that you shouldn't compare yourself to others, I mean, it's so hard not to. And it's so hard not comparing yourself to these thousands of people that you see scrolling on TikTok or Instagram just because you are consuming so much content. And yeah, it's kind of a tricky world. So I really enjoyed doing this no spend week because even though I did spend a little bit of money, I practiced my willpower. I practiced putting my credit cards away, not having Apple Pay on my phone, and it helped so much without also restricting yourself and maybe not seeing friends. Like I obviously think there's a balance to everything, but yeah, I definitely feel like I would do this challenge again. And again, even if you don't want to be super restrictive with it, I think it's good practice. It's good like mental practice. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm so curious to hear your thoughts and if you guys have done this ever in the past. But yeah, stay tuned and I'll see you guys next week.